Welcome to the show, Cyber Bunny. For those of you who don't know yet, who are you? And tell us a bit about yourself and your background.
Well, my name is Salarymen. はじめまして、皆様. But my real name is Michelle. I'm born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii, but I currently live in Tokyo. And I'm an English teacher for Japanese salarymen. So I teach business English. I used to teach little kids, but then I changed jobs.
Yeah, we've all been there. Like I used to teach as well. And business English is probably the toughest thing to teach because my business English is not good in general and I'm a native. How about your relationship with Japan?
So my mother is Japanese, and she moved from Tokyo to Hawaii, and that's why I'm born and raised there. And then every summer she would take me to visit my grandmother, who lives in Tokyo, and then she put me through school like for the summer, and then that's how I picked up Japanese. If you hear the train pass by every 10 minutes, I'm truly sorry. This is Japan life.
Oh, you're close to the station, is that why?
So every time I record a video, I have to stop every 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, depending.
Oh, God. But does it get loud at night, though?
It stops by midnight, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, the Japan life, right? Before we get into that, how about you tell us a bit more about Cyber Bunny?
I was playing around maybe 2016. In 2016, I was really into fashion. I was studying fashion and graphic design in college. And then I kind of played around with some material like plastic, and I made this outfit. It's on my Instagram if you want to check it out. You have to scroll all the way down. And I was wearing a white wig and then the bunny ears, just like you see right now. And then this was Halloween, and so I wanted to be like a cyber character. That was my inspiration. And it was modeled after my muse, Miss Bianco. She's white and has blue eyes, and she's a dwarf bunny. She's so sassy. So I'm kind of like the human version of Bianco. I wanted to give value to the character, not just like an e-girl, you know. So that's why I added in the Japanese learning aspect.
Cool.
Yeah, I wanna share the world how I learned Japanese, and what better way to learn through music and entertainment and anime.
And are there any challenges that you want to share with us?
So I moved to Tokyo maybe 2 years ago, way before, maybe 6 months before Corona happened. And then just adjusting to Japanese culture and its system, since it is quite different from America.
So you said you visited a couple of times, right? How was that different from like travel here during the summer versus living here?
Travel and living is so different. Traveling, you just see the good parts of that place, and you're just in a fantasy world. But when you're actually living, you see the both pros and cons of that place. Yeah, you begin to see the honmae of things when you're living, not just the tatemae.
Yeah.
And that is another topic we can talk about.
Oh God, I can talk about that all day. So before we go very deep into the living bit, first of all, who's your main audience and what kind of content do you create?
My viewers are mainly those that love anime, Japanese culture, and learning Japanese. I think learning Japanese is top priority. My viewers, they hope that one day they can live, they can work, or visit Japan someday. So I create content so they are prepared to expect these things.
So I see your videos, you incorporate anime into your content. So how does anime help with Japanese?
Anime wasn't really that cool when I was a high school student. I wasn't too into anime back then, but like just recently, maybe within the past, I don't know, 5-10 years, I can't count, but it has begun to be more like accepted to love anime.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with Demon Slayer and Attack on Titans, it began to be like almost slang. And then so I wanted to incorporate what's trending right now and just explain like certain words and why the grammar is that way.
So you are living in Japan. Why did you decide to move here?
My main why is to be closer with family in Japan. I miss my grandma, and she's reaching, I think, 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mad.
And I used to visit her every 3 weeks at the care home. But ever since Corona happened, I haven't seen her for over a year. And it's just unfortunate, but it happens. When she was healthy, she would always come to Hawaii and visit us and stay for the summer. So now I want to go to her, but yeah, maybe when this is all over, I can see her again.
You like living in Japan or in Hawaii? Which one?
I feel that Tokyo life suits me better. I love the fast-paced city life, and the funny thing is that Hawaii actually gives me anxiety because it's
really?
too relaxing, and I feel like I'm wasting time, and I feel like I should be doing something. Yeah, but I would go back to Hawaii just to feel relaxed and go on a vacation. But as a young person to be making a living, then I'd rather be in Tokyo.
That's the opposite for me. I feel like because I grew up in Singapore and it's like a fast-paced city, well, more or less city, yeah. So when I came to Japan, Tokyo, first, it was overwhelming because it was even more than Singapore. And then I moved further out to like Kanagawa, where it's more like suburban, and I was like, okay, this is a bit chill. And a couple months ago I lived in Okinawa for a couple of months, and I was like, oh, this is nice. It's just chill, just with a beach every other day.
Wow, okay, I've never been to Okinawa, but it sounds like a lot like Hawaii. That's what my friends told me.
Yeah, I've never been to Hawaii, so I can't do the comparison.
I've been to Singapore once, and it was really hot, but it's so international.
When did you go? Which year?
2018.
Okay, so pretty recent.
So.
Yeah. It is so humid.
Yeah.
It is insane. Imagine all year round just wearing just tank top and shorts because it's just can't be.
Yeah.
The heat is awful. It's like Japan summer all year.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's international. It's nice. It's nice to live, but everyone says it's expensive. Kind of like
You
Tokyo,
think Tokyo
you know.
is expensive compared to Singapore?
Well, compared to Singapore, like I could go a day in Singapore with just $3 or $5, and I could do all my like meals and stuff. Whereas here, one meal is like 1,000 yen, and you're like, whoa, that's a lot.
Oh my gosh! I guess because you are working and living in Singapore as a local, so you get that normal wage. But as a tourist, I thought Singapore was so expensive. I barely ate anything.
Really? Like, no way. Like, you could get a meal for like pennies, I'd say. I would spend $2-3 on a meal every single day.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
I think it's like, if you stay in the central area of Singapore, everything is more expensive, but like the max you would go for a local dish in Singapore would be like $7. But yeah, But here it's like if you get anything below 1,000 yen, I mean you can get ramen below 1,000 yen, but generally it's like 1,000 yen, right?
I think.
Oh, Singapore wages are not good
really?
as well. But that's a whole other topic. Yeah, yeah, it's not good. There's no minimum wage in Singapore, so.
I love these cultural differences. You know, this way of life.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
How about in like Hawaii? Is the standard of living there better?
My God. I think everyone in Hawaii can agree with me on this, but most people have 2 or 3 jobs just to make a very, very comfortable living. Houses, like a normal 1-story house, can go up to $1 million. Lunch is like $12, and then you have to pay 15% tip for lunch, 20% for dinner, and we don't have tipping in Japan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So for you, Japan is cheaper.
Japan is so cheap, so I don't have a problem paying for things. Sometimes I pay for my friends' dinners because it's so cheap. Yeah.
Really?
I'm nice.
Wow. Everyone be friends with Cyber Bunny. She'll pay for your lunch.
Tell me.
But like I got used to Japan like standard of living that when I go back home every time I'm like, oh, everything's so cheap. You know? So but yeah, I think the one thing I like so much about living in Japan is you meet a lot of different people, not just Japanese people but also like people from everywhere, all around the world. Don't you think?
Yes. Yeah, Japan's becoming more international, and I'm meeting a lot of people from all over the place. So I think that's cool. In Hawaii, there is diversity. I guess, yeah. I don't know. It hits different.
Maybe. Yeah. What were your first impressions or any memories you can recall when you first moved here?
Pre-COVID memories were nice. I was able to...
Those were the days.
I was able to spend 7 months of just a regular lifestyle in Tokyo, and I was able to visit many places in town and out of town. Like, my favorite memory was Kawaguchiko, which is near Fujisan. And I went during the fall, and it's when the leaves change, and it's so beautiful. And you get your own private onsen, and I did all the ryokan things. So that was nice. Of course, the nightlife pre-COVID was nice. It was fun. Very, very different from Hawaii nightlife.
Yeah. How was it different?
Hawaii is very small, so you know everybody. So when you go to a club, you just see all your high school friends.
That must be hard to kind of escape them. You're like, oh, you again.
And in Tokyo, you can kind of be anyone and everyone. So yeah, it was more. I feel it's more exciting. I think everyone can agree with me on this.
Yeah. I can barely remember pre-COVID Japan. The nightlife for that, like golden guy just sitting out drinking, getting smashed on the street. But here it's like, now you can't even drink.
Yeah.
Now every restaurant, every bar. Oh God, I was so devastated. You forgot just a pint of beer with your dinner. That kind of, yeah, I miss that. Oh, pre-COVID.
Right, but at least your bill is a lot cheaper. No, not the same.
I don't mind paying. I think it just adds up the horoyoi and all the beers and Smirnoff Ice on convenience. So if I don't go out drinking, I'll just get the convenient
Right,
stuff, you know?
right. Yeah, so many people are just like on the street or at the park drinking because there's nowhere to go. There's literally nowhere to go past 8.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I was in Okinawa, there was one like izakaya that was open till like 2 a.m. and they were like a chicken, all you can eat chicken and all you can drink izakaya. So I was like going there like almost every night. And you get the all you can drink menu is so big. There's like umeshu on it, there's highball, there's everything you can imagine. And I was like, this is paradise.
That sounds so good.
And then I left Okinawa, and now in Kyoto, there's nothing. There's nowhere you can go to drink, which is so sad.
It's in Kyoto too, right? The ban on drinking.
Yeah. How's Tokyo though? I haven't been there. I haven't been back in like so long. I feel like it's so different from Kyoto, Okinawa.
Yeah, we're on our 3rd state of emergency right now, and you know it doesn't feel any different than a couple weeks earlier when they announced it. I think the only thing that's different is the ban on alcohol in all restaurants, but you still gotta leave the restaurant at 8, and even shopping malls.
Yeah, they added that one as well.
I was in the middle of shopping, and then they said I had to leave. So
this is just yesterday, right? It was like 7:30, so I was like, okay, I have half an hour before H&M closes. And then at 7:30 I walked into the fitting room and he was like, oh, you can't try on your clothes. And I was like, why? He's like, oh, we're closing at 8. This is not a restaurant, mate.
That is weird. That is weird.
Yeah.
At least like 10 minutes before 8,
Okay.
you know.
Exactly. It's like I'm not gonna try the whole bloody store. I'm just gonna try one piece. What? So I marched out very, very angrily.
Yeah, businesses are it's killing them. I don't know how they're gonna continue from here on out.
Well, Olympics is gonna help everything, right? Everyone's kind of aiming for the Olympics right now.
The big elephant in the room. Will it happen or not?
Even the government doesn't want to talk about it. Feels like the state of emergency is just pushing back until the Olympics. And then they're like, yeah, everything's lifted.
I can smell a disaster coming. Stay tuned.
So, in our season 5, episode 3, I mentioned a few things about culture shock in Japan. Did you experience any of that?
Totally. Even as a Japanese American who was accustomed to Japanese culture from an early age, I still get culture shocks maybe every other week.
I feel
it's something
you, yeah.
that will never go away. But just to name a couple, I think, well, let's do the positives. I think universal healthcare is great in Japan. I'm used to private healthcare in America, and so you would pay, you know, like a couple $100 a month, even if you don't use the medical care, you still have to pay. But in Japan, it's kind of like pay as you go, which I like.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And yeah.
I guess it's a bit similar to Singapore, so yeah, it's a bit similar to Singapore.
Japan or America? Okay.
Japan.
Singapore is similar to Japan. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. And the second point is this is more on the negative side, but ladies first does not exist in Japan, and more like ladies serve.
Preach.
And it's still this way, even from the bubble age, where economy was booming in Japan.
Did you have any like experiences with that?
Yes, actually, I do. When I go out to dinner with my guy friends, it's always like I have to take care of them. Like pour their
Oh, really?
waters, flag
What?
down. I don't know. Maybe like yes, things like that, or they'll open the door for themselves, but not me. Kind of things. Those generic things like that. Or like I have to make the
Right.
first move.
In terms of what? In what context?
Maybe like messaging, or like if I really like the guy, I would have to make the move, kind of thing. Like they would just like wait.
Oh, really?
But like
Oh, that's awful.
sometimes I would wait too, because I want to see how they do it, and then nothing ever happens.
Mm. Yeah, they're like, oh, she's not messaging, whatever. Something like that.
Yeah, it's tradition that the girls make the move. Like even during
Is
high
it?
school, middle school age, like the girl has to kokuhaku first, give the chocolate, send the message to the guy saying, "Will you go out with me?"
Like
Yeah.
on Valentine's
It's
Day.
always the girls first. In America, it's so opposite.
Yeah. Right. So we mentioned about the whole opposite thing. So that's one of it. How about paying? If like you go on a date.
Paying, it's half. And what I
But you like you
yeah,
split the bill.
And let's say the guy drinks more, you know, maybe like has 2 more drinks than you. He'll be like it's okay, just pay just pay $10 and I got the rest, or $20 and I got the rest. So if he like, that's on the good side, that's considered good. So there are times like that, or there are times where it's like split down the middle. It just kind of depends on your relationship with that person, or maybe he gets it this time or you get the next time. Or it could also be like, hey, can you help me out this time?
Yeah. The whole like bill thing, it's very different from Singapore as well. So like back home we would pay like to the penny how much we ate or drank. But here it's like if they have the bill and you have like 5 people, it just splits 5 ways. If one person drinks like 3 more, I still have to take whatever that person, I still have to pay whatever that person drank. And it was like, that's not fair. So it was very different for me.
Singapore, down to the penny.
Yeah. Well, at least me and my friends were like that. But sometimes like we just round up the number. And it's not like an understanding where everyone goes, oh, okay, we'll split 5 ways. It's more like, oh, I'll pay a bit more. So you have to kind of offer, and then the person be like, okay. But if you don't offer, it's just an understanding that it's split how much you eat. Yeah. So I was not happy the first time that happened to me in Japan.
I see. Going out with your coworkers and your boss is probably one of the things I look forward to in Japan.
Yeah.
The boss will take the entire bill.
So I started working with like a company like during COVID. So no one had like a company drinking thing. They used to. So I didn't get to experience any of that.
No free food, no free drinks.
Yeah, that's a bit annoying. But do you guys have to wait till the boss drinks first and then you can drink? Is that how it goes?
Definitely.
Right. I read about that. Don't know whether, never experienced
the boss
it.
is the leader. Without him, if it weren't for him, you would have to pay. So like, if he summons you, you go. If he drinks, you drink. If he eats, you eat.
Do you still speak? Yeah, eat that. Okay, yeah. Hi. How about like, do you guys still speak Kegel even during like drinking casually with your boss?
Yes. When you're out with your boss, it's still a professional business atmosphere. So you have to retain that mannerisms as you would in the office. I thought that was really interesting. Even though you're out of the office and it's like a social event, you still have to be respectful.
God. How I don't think I can do that. Like when you get a bit tipsy, everything just comes out.
Yes. It does. That's why I don't drink that. I'm not a big drinker anyway. So I'll just have about a maximum of 2 drinks and then I'll be like, "Osaki ni shiteshimasu," and then go home before I make a fool of myself.
Yeah, I know that's a good tip. Everyone should just learn from that. Just leave before you get smashed.
Yeah. I would just show face, like show that you're making the effort to be a group, and then just leave shortly after, like halfway.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I always see like a group of like salarymen, and they're carrying like one guy who was just one too many beers and just limping all the way back.
There's always that one guy. Yeah.
There's always that one guy.
What's funny is that I teach those guys. So I know that life very well.
All the salarymen that I taught before were the like workaholics, never go out for drinks with people. They're just like very, very into their work. So it's different.
Wow. Yeah. They're just workaholics.
They are, yeah. Like one time, he came in. The salaryman came in. I was like, "Oh, how was your day?" He's like, "Oh, I've been working. I just came from work. It was like 8:30, and I was like, "Okay, what are you gonna do when you get home?" "Oh, I have to work. I have a call meeting at 1 a.m." I'm like, what? 1 a.m. Who's awake at 1 a.m.? But he's apparently on call the whole night. So if there's a work call, he has to pick up.
Oof. Yeah. That's rough.
Yeah. Working in Japan, guys.
That's a first. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. I guess it depends on your job description. He's like the boss. Apparently, he's like one of the higher ups, but even he can't rest. He's not like the highest boss, you know? So, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, speaking of culture shock, I know one thing that was shocking for a lot of people. And that's like space. You know, like the size. And especially like for living accommodation. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yes, my friends and I talk about this all the time. For some reason, they're always moving. Every single international friend, I ask them like how their life is, and they say they're always moving to another spot. And,
yeah.
Living in Tokyo is quite difficult because you're basically living in a shoebox in exchange for being closer to the city. And the farther you're away from the city center, the cheaper your rent will be and the bigger the space. So you're pretty much paying for convenience. Yeah, you're paying for convenience. And if you're an American that likes your space and you're used to living in a huge house with many rooms and bathrooms and with a kitchen, this will come as a culture shock.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
That's the price that we pay for living in a city like Tokyo, because we don't drive. Not a lot of young people can afford a car, so we just walk or take the train everywhere.
Oh, the space to park a car.
Exactly. And the walls are so thin. Have you seen those cones where you like practice your screaming?
Yeah.
Like at Loft or Don Quixote or something. There's like a cone, and then you just like
Yeah.
you just scream.
I've never tried that. No, I just
Yeah,
saw
me
pictures
too.
of it.
I'm considering buying one.
Oh, I guess yeah. When I was when I was back in Tokyo, I was only staying in share houses because it's so expensive to get your own apartment. You have the upfront costs, all your deposit, your key money,
Oh,
and all that. And we're like, oh, is that worth it? Nah, we just stay in share houses and just jump from one house
do you
to the
feel
other.
like it's a lot cheaper
Mhm.
in a share house?
Share houses, I feel like it is. So I initially I stayed like in Yoyogi Uehara, so that's
Oh,
like
that's nice.
city center. Yeah, it was nice, but the house was like
Oh.
old and yeah, the room's small. So then I moved a bit further out to go to Kuji. Still nice, but still small. Then I moved even further out to Kawasaki, so like Yokohama area. And that was when I stayed for like a year. And it was nice and big, and the house was fresh, newly renovated, cheaper than what I was paying in Tokyo. So yeah, you sacrifice the distance, but you get all this space and like all the facilities. So my last share house had a gym, had a theater room, had all that kind of stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'd stay here. And it was during COVID, so no one's going out anyway.
That's
So
nice. Wow.
yeah. So yeah, I would like to have my own space, but in Japan, it's a bit too expensive, I feel like.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I've never lived in a share house in Japan, but I did in London when I did 3 months of my internship there. And yeah, I feel ya.
Mm-hmm. Share house in London? Oh, okay. Is it popular there to have like share
I think
houses
so.
and
It
stuff?
was kind of like a study abroad program kind of thing. I really recommend it to people who want to travel abroad or live abroad. Is to do like a 3-month kind of stay and see if you like it, and then move in for real.
Yeah. Feel like it's good to it's good to like meet new people. A good place to meet new people. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to question 4. I think we've done all of that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Right, so what do you think are the pros and cons about living in Japan? Like in our first episode of the season, I mentioned a couple of them. So what are your thoughts?
Okay, let's start with the pros of living in Japan.
Yeah, always.
So a lot of people have said that they lost weight moving to Japan. They lost weight, and it might be due to the active lifestyle. You just walk everywhere because there's no car life unless you're living in the country. But you bike everywhere. You take the train. At the train station, there are steps. You stand on the train. You stand in the train. You stand in the train.
On the train, yeah.
When it's really busy. Those rush hours, and yeah, that's train life. Another pro is that the diet, the Japanese diet, and what they eat is really healthy. And I think the biggest thing is their portion size. Have you seen their yogurts? It's so tiny. That's like one bite.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't really buy yogurt here because it's not as cheap as back home. Is it like those 6 in a pack kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't typically buy those, but I see it and they're so tiny. And I can see why it might be expensive compared to Singapore. Yeah. But definitely what they eat is really healthy. The portion sizes, even if it's a junk food, it's packaged in a small like package.
So, like compared to Hawaii and stuff, the portions here are smaller, even like fast food.
American size is really big compared to Japanese size.
Really?
I think I lost 5 kilograms.
What do you think of the portion? Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm quite happy.
Right? I have a small appetite, so even Japanese portions can sometimes be a bit too big for me.
I envy you.
So if I go to the US, I'm like done for. Like I'll eat a quarter of the
Yes.
portion.
You might have to share your meals with someone.
I'm already sharing my meal. Yeah, my boyfriend is so lucky he gets 1.5 portions every time we go out to eat.
Nice.
So what about the cons? What are the bad stuff about Japan?
If you're visiting Japan and you don't speak Japanese or understand any Japanese at all, you might be a little bit lost because Japan is not English friendly. I mean, there are signs where you can kind of make out where things are, but the people don't speak English.
Yeah. And if you want to like go to the post office or the ward office, it is tough if you don't know a bit of Japanese.
Another one is like there's a thing in culture, there's like status and hierarchy based on age, your background, your experience. So it might be a little bit unfair, but like from a Japanese point, I also understand why it is the way it is.
Why do you think so?
I think it's kind of like the senpai-kohai relationship. So if you're younger, you're automatically like, you don't know any better, so let senpai or let brother or sister take care of you kind of mentality. So yeah, mentor mentality. And with background, like if you come from a rich family, you're automatically better because you have all of these resources available to you.
Wow.
So I'm better than you. Bow down to me. That's
Wow.
kind of the feeling that I'm getting.
Because you're born into it.
And it affects
right.
like their social behavior. It's just a different world. And for experience, when you're working in a traditional company, someone that came after you is automatically your senpai. They have more experience, but they may not necessarily have the skills that you have. Maybe a younger person has like, they know everything from Photoshop to video editing to social media marketing, but they've only lived like 22 years of their life. So there's a difference there. Older does not mean better, and you can't also teach an old dog new tricks.
That's true.
So
That's true. You should tell that to all the Japanese.
I'd like Japan to be a little bit more loose on that. But what do I know?
Yeah. I'm just a foreigner. That's true. Well, what do we know?
Third point, treatment of women. Shall we talk about this?
I'll just lightly touch on it.
Okay. Well, I think this is getting a little bit better. They're giving more positions to women. They're allowing women to have like pregnancy leave and then come back and there'll still be a job waiting for them. So I think in that aspect is getting a lot better. They're having trains specifically for women during these times of rush hour. And yeah, I think before, during the bubble age, it was so bad. Like I feel sympathetic to them. And it also depends on what region in Japan as well. So I heard that Tokyo is very forward. They're very like realistic, and they treat women a lot better. Whereas in Kanto region, like Osaka, it's still like men are better than women within the household.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope we can improve that.
Hopefully.